This is a very focused company on electrical distribution.
Okay, here's a classic entrepreneur.
Family orientation to it.
First word that comes to mind for most people is family oriented.
Work hard, we play hard.
Byrne employees are part of the family. Pretty simple.
We always tried to develop it as one big family, that each helping each other.
We put the power in Dilbert's world.
Byrnes are driven by people telling us what we can't do.
They deliver on time, their quality is flawless.
Helping others in need, helping school districts with funding when they need it, numerous charities.
If we ask them to do something special, and we do, probably more than we should, they'll come through for us.
We make Byrne.
We make Byrne.
Baby, we make Byrne.
I want to.
1971, having left the company Electrical Assemblies in Grand Haven, Michigan, Norman Byrne decided to start his own business, a business which would make the electrical harnesses to carry power to dashboards and other instruments on boats. It all began with a customer he met while at Electrical Assemblies, Don Jarkson of Medallion Instruments.
Norm, I don't know whether it was one day or not, said, "You know, I can do this for you." And we said, "Really?" He says, "Sure, I can do this. I can do it down in my basement."
I went and bought a cutter, which is a pretty good sized machine. It weighs about 500 pounds or something.
And they took out the last 3 steps as they brought it in.
Said, "Oh, well, that's a bit of a problem." So we got it down there and they built the new steps, which was not a big deal. Other than Rosemary probably not happy about that. So that's what we started with in the basement. And we were down there a while.
Money was tight as their family grew. They now had 3 kids, Kelly, Kathy, and Dan. Molly was to follow a few short years later. To make ends meet, Norman had to work full-time for his friend and mentor, Ed Mansowitz, at Grand Rapids Spring and Wire.
Oh, I thought he was a go-getter, a good man, and a good young man.
This basement has started growing like a wild mushroom, that the next thing you know, there were parts in the kitchen, there were parts in the living room. You sat down in a chair and there were parts, and don't touch this.
It needed to get it out of the basement because it was a mess. It was not the right place for the kids. You had to get it out of there.
1972. Soon the business became too big for the house, with parts throughout, and Norm had to move the business to a small building on Knapp Street in Ada, Michigan. Outgrowing the Knapp Street location quickly, the company moved to downtown Grand Rapids at 600 Monroe, the Ammerman building. At the same time, Ed's company, Grand Rapids Spring and Wire, had moved to 601 Monroe. Norm would work mornings at Ed's, walk across the street, and work afternoons and evenings at Byrne. For the next 5 years, Byrne Electrical Specialists worked out of the Ammerman building, manufacturing electrical leads and harnesses for the marine and auto industry. And by 1975, they had become Ford Motor Company's primary supplier of electrical leads, producing around 6 million per year. As the company grew, so did the need for space. 1978, the company moved to its now current home in Rockford, Michigan.
I sold him 3 acres of this 30 acres my wife and I bought here. And he started building his first building.
From the banks of the Grand River to the banks of the Rogue River, Byrne Electrical Specialists finally found a place to call home and to grow. Despite its growth, Byrne's long-term viability continued to be a question mark. As a discreet lead and harness maker, there was always the danger of becoming a commodity.
When I first joined up with Norm in the early 80s, we weren't so sure from one year to the next what it was going to look like and whether this was going to be a long-term viable company.
Byrne was taking AMP, Incorporated Materials, who was basically a competitor, modifying them to customer specifications, and essentially acting as a conduit from AMP to the customer, but not yet making their own unique products.
At that point, we were assembling AMP product for the office furniture industry for most parts, not for the American Zinc product, but for the other things, we were assembling AMP product.
We were building a modified AMP system and doing very well at it. We'd use their blocks, their terminals, we'd assemble and made a special mold, and we made this very nice raceway system, and we did the ends. But we were using their product, their receptacles, buying and reselling.
Then AMP decided, as a part of their strategy, they needed to take over Byrne. They realized that they could do better by making Byrne a part of their organization than just selling them the parts. At that point, Norm had to make a decision.
I had a system almost designed on paper, on napkins.
So we decided to design our own.
It was like the perfect storm, and the only way out of it was to start from scratch with a clean sheet of paper and develop a new system.
Because anybody can build a simple little harness, but to build a system, the amount of tooling, the amount of what it takes to do that, and the design is just such a giant step above building harnesses.
The office furniture industry saw the opportunity immediately, as workplace spaces were being modified and the need for this modular power allowed for flexibility without needing to re-hardwire office space. Many of the top furniture manufacturers, hearing of Byrne's product and reputation, began to partner with Byrne and began to replace old systems with the new Byrne system. By the late 1980s, Byrne had finally gained a true foothold and established themselves as one of the top modular power solution providers.
It's one of those things, we are in the right place at the right time with a product at the right place at the right time in an industry that was growing quite quickly. It was the combination of all those things and then managing it at a level that we could grow and sustain the growth over time, and that's really the leadership of Norm that positioned us for that.
And now I'm pleased to present the next award, which is presented to a person who is concerned with the welfare of human beings. The 1998 Humanitarian Entrepreneur of the Year Award goes to President of Byrne Electrical Specialists, Mr. Norman R. Byrne. Congratulations.
I guess you call him Storm and Norman.
Storm and Norman.
Storm and Norman. Storm and Norman?
Storm and Norman.
You mean Storm and Norman?
One thing you learn over time in dealing with my father is that it's going to take many steps to get to the end result, but you just have to sit back, go through the process, and know in the end it'll always be the best answer.
If you were in a leaking boat, you would want Norman on that boat because he would pull a team together and he would know how to fix things.
Very intelligent, a good family man.
He has such an independent spirit. If someone tells him he can't do something or it's no, he's going to drive that much harder.
Just very good with math. He's just gifted as far as mathematical figures are concerned.
He believes in people. And knowing Norm and knowing his background, that's how he really has built his company, is through his gut and believing in people.
He's an extremely hard worker. He's very intense. He has a desire to succeed and will work toward it and keep pushing toward it till he does succeed.
His inner drive to never give up. No matter what obstacle he came upon, he wouldn't give up.
He's just brilliant with respect to his memory. So he has the Edison approach. He can do 100 or 1,000 different experiments simultaneously and organize them as such.
And his mind works constantly, and he's always thinking, even though he's on vacation, he's always thinking about some new product.
Part of what makes Norman an unbelievable inventor is that he sees things inside and backwards. He really has the Leonardo da Vinci dyslexia, and that's really a benefit. He doesn't have the paradigms that you and I have.
He always had a napkin or a piece of paper and always needed a pencil.
Yep, he always was like, "You got a pencil?" It was never a pen. "You got a pencil?"
He was always inventing and trying to come up with a better plan to make it right.
The Irish are a little wilder than the Germans. Our Germans are a little more laid back and a little more conservative, so Norm needs Rosemary to kind of keep him in tabs. Right.
As my dad says, she is the backbone of the company.
She kind of fulfilled that very nurturing role in the family and in the company.
A lot of taking care of everything at home, no matter where he was, what time of the day it was. She always made sure we all had dinner together, being the support person, keeping the family going, and I think she helped him with the books.
Needless to say, when you got a husband that's spending hours and hours and hours at work, you got to have somebody supporting him, give him the go ahead, get it done type of thing, and I think Rosemary's played a great role in that.
But you got to really dwell on the fact that if Rosemary was not involved in things, we wouldn't be as successful as we are. It just wouldn't be. Maybe we would have had to give up and go get a real job.
Of course, she's put up with all of us all these years, you know, and raised her family, good family, and took care of Norm. And that's a full-time job.
With a solid foothold, Byrne was able to leverage its strength in customer service, separating itself even further from their competitors. They became not just a supplier of modular power, but a solutions provider. In essence, they became a partner.
Back in the mid-'80s, when I first started dealing with Byrne, it was a very small company. We dealt with the owner directly, Norm, and yet Norm was one who would always make sure that our customer needs were met.
We realized that we needed electrical distribution within the conference table, and so we started looking around for the best people, and that's when we found Byrne. And we've been working with them ever since.
I think in business today, sometimes when people say, "I'll be your partner," what they don't say is this: "I'll be your partner so long as I get my way." That's not the case in the relationship we have with Byrne at Trenway.
Customer issues became Byrne issues that they made right and solved, making life easy for the customer.
They instilled a lot of confidence. They knew what they were talking about. The order process was easy. The transitions from our old system to the new system, they took care of. So they really took care of things for us. They took our problems onto themselves and solved the problem.
The customer relations team is very much has the heart of a servant. They want to make sure that the customer gets what they want when they want it. The engineering group has always tried to serve the customer with the best possible solutions that they can get at the time as well. And then the people on the production floor, when I tell them that, you know, Steelcase needs these parts to finish this installation, they just hunker down, get it done, and move it on.
The loyalty and the commitment and the confidence we had in each other to continue to grow our business together. We wouldn't even consider an alternative to Byrne when they do things like that. They are serving us so well.
Byrne employees are the best.
It was very apparent early on, and Norm always says it too, that the people and the employees are the reason for his success.
One of the things I like about Byrne is it's small enough that everyone's close. Everyone knows your name, everyone knows about you. It's almost like we're a family.
One of the unique things about Byrne is my having worked elsewhere before is the fact that where I worked before, the owner was more money driven than he was with customer satisfaction and treatment of employees. To him, money was the ultimate thing. With the Byrne culture here, you take care of your customer, you take care of your employees.
And they're not the office and the floor. We're one big family, the Byrne family.
We think in terms of our employees as family members. So as I was growing up, at a young age, working on the plant floor and doing different jobs and whatnot, I was really just with my brothers and sisters.
Byrne employees are part of the family. Pretty simple. Have been, will be.
I guess I don't think there's another company anywhere that quite treats their employees the way Byrne does, and has from almost the beginning here.
Working at Knapp Street, Norm would come home, you eat dinner yet? No. Rosemary says, you come on home with me. Yeah, so, okay.
I used to work in my hours as a cashier, but you never saw Fred walking anywhere. And here you get to meet your boss, his wife, his kids. And every time they make events, they don't just make it for the employees, they make it for employees and family.
Have these events, whether it be the Thanksgiving dinner or just a hot dog cookout or some simple event, the role of the directors and managers is to serve. And I think that really is our role in the company.
The caring part of Norman and Rosemary, to make it easier and for the workforce to have childcare. How many companies would go out and start a daycare center on site and make it available to the employees as well as people in the community?
Support of the community is a big part of the culture at Byrne. Employees, vendors, customers, and the surrounding area are all a part of this community.
Maybe you might see a leprechaun bouncing around the factory floor. And it's really served them well because it's, the Irish have always been faced with tough times, but they pull themselves up. They are jovial, hardworking people. Norm certainly has embraced the Irish culture, and we always say at Byrne it's honor that tradition, but still pioneer change. But we always keep in mind the strong heritage of the Irish people and the legends.
As you can see, a lot of rooms were painted green, and the blinds were green, and chairs were green. And it just makes you feel very green.
Not everyone that works here is Irish. But I think once you work here, you become part Irish. And I think that's the key. From the St. Patrick's Day celebration, it's probably one of the best St. Patrick's Day celebrations in town.
Favorite holiday, bar none, is St. Patrick's Day. And I don't think that there's an employee here that will tell you any different.
Everyone looks forward to all year long. As soon as it's over, it's, well, next year,
He has made that our holiday, not just his by heritage, but he has made that our holiday as well.
You got to treat that as you're celebrating the Irish heritage, but it goes further. It's any. It's just recognizing that, yes, that's a time of the year that maybe it's Irish, but you're really doing it for everybody.
Whether you're true Irish or you've been Byrne Irish, I think it gives everyone even a deeper identity. I mean, there's on the family crest, there's Certata da Vici. Interpreted means I strove, I succeed. And it really falls in line with Norman's founding spirit, Dan's spirit today, the whole families of, from a molding machine in my basement to this today. It wasn't just green pastures cruising all the way through. There was a lot of ups and downs.
like his father, is taking the needed actions to move the company forward.
Dan and the interest and his commitment to the company and his interest in learning and evolving as the company's needed. And then also that coupled with Norm's recognition that every company has to have a succession plan.
As Dan, with Norm's support, has diversified the business from a product perspective as well as geographically, Dan is realizing there needs to be more than one guy. So Dan is developing a team of professional leaders that have functional expertise to help develop that business as they go forward.
We need to build upon what Norman's done. He's created this great thing, and we're going to build upon it, and we're going to grow it. He's entrusted Dan to take the company forward, and Dan's entrusting us as a professional management team to carry the company forward.
Being able to bring together a group of individuals who all bring a unique skill set to the table and a unique aspect of, we're having worked in different sized companies, having some of them been independent business owners themselves, some of them coming from big companies, different industries. That's an incredible recipe when you put that type of leadership team together, and it doesn't happen that often.
Dan tries to leverage the strengths of the professionals that he brings in. He hires professional people that have good backgrounds and a good education and a good mind in order to fulfill a specific area.
What that does is it challenges people to think differently. It challenges people to grow their own skills. And again, looking for a leadership team that is into continuous improvement or continuous growth, both for the company and for themselves.
I see Dan continuing to really grow as our leader. I see Norm being involved on important decisions, and we want him involved.
Dan has evolved into the kind of leader that the company needs to move forward.
Today our core market is the furniture industry. Specifically within furniture, it's the OEM segment. There are many, many market opportunities outside of that, and the sales team, along with product development, we need to shift into market developed products. I think the most significant growth opportunity for us is in the electrical accessories.
The Mo product line and the accessories, I think that was one that really, it's just taken off, and it's really been an idea or gave us a strong hold within the tables and the conference tables or the work centers as far as our accessory line.
I'm very confident that Cambio has a tremendous upside for this organization. Also, we're really focused on technology and how we're embedding those into our products.
Very interesting part of the furniture market since the 80s has been accommodating technology in the office. And there's been an explosion of technology that's available. PCs, now laptops, and video conferencing, and everything that's going on in the conference rooms where we really focus a lot of our effort, and then in private office where a lot of the Byrne product go.
Our speed of product development needs to increase. Our flexibility in our manufacturing needs to get better, because now we're not manufacturing the same thing day after day after day.
Actually define products on the front end, get clear on their cost and where they need to be priced, and strategically fast-track develop them and launch products on time and on budget.
We need to do a better job of determining the cost-benefit ratio, because we cannot allocate the resources to every good idea.
There are markets outside of our traditional core markets. Could be retail, could be residential application.
We also need to expand into new markets. So we need to hit markets that are growing: healthcare, education, things that are not just office furniture.
Having the opportunity to move out from just Canadian or American markets is very important for, I think, for every company.
We're really after the BRIC countries when we developed our Cambio product line. It was really focused on the BRIC countries, which is Brazil, Russia, India, and China. Those are the most developing markets there are in the world, and we wanted to be able to service those markets with modular electrical solutions.
Over the past 6 years, we've been working hard on a global strategy, and we have operations now in China that are operational, that have been shipping us product. We have operations in Mexico that are operational, that have been distributing and shipping us product. We have representatives in Latin America, and then we have sales presence in China. So it could be a whole nother wave that we can ride.
As those markets evolve, they will mean a great opportunity for our company.
When I look back, the past 40 years, it's been an adventure. Some of it through rough waters, some of it smooth, but in the end, it's been very rewarding. It's been very successful, and it's all due to Norm's hard work, determination, and learning along the way, and never giving up.
My hopes and dreams that this company can continue to grow, continue to be viable, and continue to impact people's lives in a positive way, for the next 40 years.
We better be thanking the good Lord that we made it, because there isn't anyone, rich or poor, that can make it in business without that. Because I have several friends that had more education, more backing, more in-depth connections, and they didn't make it. And it is probably because they weren't as fortunate as Rosemary and I of good Lord helping us out.
We make Byrne.
We make Byrne.
We make Byrne.
We
make Byrne.
我们
创造了 Byrne.
Nosotros
Hacemos
Byrne.
Nos sabemos
Byrne.
We make Byrne.
We
make
Byrne.
We make Byrne.
When I think about Byrne, I also think about them as friends. They're really nice people, and their employees have so much spirit, nice people. I wish them well. I want them to be prosperous. I want the people that are part of Byrne to have some sense of peace of mind that Byrne will go on. I wish them that.
Wish them nothing but success as we celebrate 40 years. Congratulations. And wish the family and the company nothing but much success as you go forward for the next 40 years and beyond.
I've envisioned this company and hope for this company to continue to grow their philanthropy, continue to grow, and that they will be considered, when you speak of Grand Rapids, that you will see Byrne Electrical Specialists named right up there with companies like Steelcase, Lax Industries.
It's really clear that this family is dedicated to the business, to their employees, and to this area, and that's been probably the greatest delight for me in working with them.